Hey everybody, my name is Nicholas Baker and I have a story for you. So we're going back to where I work and I'm sitting at my cash register, minding my own business, ringing up some customers. And it's been a pretty slow day. I'm pretty sure this was on a Sunday. And so I'm sitting there and this lady comes up and she's buying like 15 bags of cat food. Plus cat food in a can, the fancy feast things. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that name, but I'm going to. So pretty much she goes up there and I start ringing up stuff and I say, so you have a cat? And she looks at me and says, yes, I do. I love my cats. And I was like, how many do you have? And she's like, 9. And I'm like, cool. That's a lot of cats, but cool. And so she's ringing up all my stuff. I'm ringing up all of her stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And she says, it's been a half an hour since I saw my cats. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, I just haven't seen my cats in so long. And she starts to cry. And I kid you not, this lady is crying about how much she loves her cats. She has a deep, passionate love for these cats. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video of the girl talking about how much she loves cats, but she was like worse than her. She was so in love with cats, and she goes on this entire rant about how if she could adopt every single cat in the world, she would adopt them all, and she loves cats so much. And then she looks at me and she gets really intense. She goes, did you know that some people abuse cats? And I finished ringing up her stuff like 5 minutes ago. And I'm like, I didn't. I'm very sorry to hear that. Your total is 105. And she's like, they do. And she goes on another full tangent. And I'm like, people are stacking up behind her. And they're getting mad at me because I can't get her out of my line until I finally say, ma'am, I really need you to pay. Just hand me your card. And so she slides her card. We figure that all out. She pushes her card and she pushes it around to behind me and keeps going about how much she's in love with her cats and how much she wants her cats in her life. And I'm sitting there ringing up other people's stuff and I'm like, if you love your cats so much, why don't you go home? And so I sent a 248 code, which pretty much means, manager, come help me. There's a crazy person. And so our manager comes and says, what appears to be the problem? And I say, this lady's, she won't leave. And she goes, you're trying to get rid of me? I said, well, I need to do my job. And she looks at the manager and says, do you have a child? And this is my manager, Megan. So she says, yeah, I have a child. And she goes, my cats are my children. And she goes crazy. She has the crazy eyes that are and she keeps looking at me I feel in danger for my life. What are you going to do with me with your crazy cats? And she just progressively gets more and more angry and starts yelling at my manager about how much she needs her cats in her life. And my manager actually says what I was thinking is well, then why don't you go home? And then she gets angry and demands to see the supervisor. So while my manager is taking this lady to the head person over our store, another guy comes up and brings 14 things of alcohol. 14 big things of beer. And drink with whatever you want, it's fine. It's 10 a.m. on a Sunday, but whatever, it's not my place. But I'm not allowed to sell alcohol. You have to take a class in order to sell it. And I haven't taken it. So I have to send a 248 code, but my manager is busy. And so he's just standing there, and the longer he stands there, the more I realize I think he's an alcoholic because he starts twitching. And he's like, why aren't you ringing up my alcohol? And I'm sitting there and I said, I'm very sorry, sir. I can't. And he starts screaming. And how the cat lady was yelling? I don't mean yelling. I mean full on screaming. The other cashiers stopped what they were doing, turned around to look at me, and I'm brand new at this place. So he's raging at me with a red face, and my face is just... And he's slowly getting closer and looming over me like a crazy statue thing, and he's like, I will crush your soul. when my manager comes and like checks him out and everything, and he sits there and he's like, "Is that the price?" And she's like, "Yes." "Didn't you look at the label when you were buying it?" He's like, "No." "Oh, I don't want it anymore." And he just walks away. I spent an hour of my work working with two crazy people. And that's my story for this week.